Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff St Laurent, and this is the Tuesday live show, and coming at you each and every week, 12:05 Eastern. And today's topic is the raw and sometimes ugly truth of entrepreneurship. Before we get going, I do record all of these Tuesday live shows, and I put them in my university at sellingcoaching.com. So check out the university. Got fantastic resources in there as I help coaches transition to a full-time business. And I specialize in setting up new structures and your marketing and setting up all that structure for you so you don't have to figure out all on your own, and then help you with the selling skill set of helping you convert the leads to paying clients once we get that going. So a lot of great stuff in my university. And then right on the homepage of sellingcoaching.com, I've got a great resource called starting you off, launching your full-time coaching business, the first 3 vital steps. So if you enter your name and email, there I say you can get my dog. That's my humor, but obviously you're not going to get my dog. You're going to have instant access to the audio course that I have there. And that's going to really help you realize what you need for the first 3 vital steps, obviously, in launching your full-time coaching business. So check those resources out. Also in my private Facebook group, right at the top of every page, on sellingcoaching.com. There's a button that can bring you over to there. I'm doing some great things right now. We're doing a visibility challenge, which is creating 30 videos over 91 days. Or if that's too much for you or too little, you can modify it. It's a self-defined visibility challenge, but a lot of great energy going on in that group right now. A lot of people stepping outside their comfort zone, speaking their message, people doing it for a while. You know, they're obviously comfortable with it, veterans to it, if you will. And then other people who are just like, oh my God, this is my first video and I'm freaking out. But the reality is no matter where you're at with your business, you've got to be visible. You've got to speak your message. And even if you're doing a lot of your business face-to-face, you know, anything you have online from a presence there, whether it's social media, especially your website, people need to see you. They need to interact with you in order to begin to trust you and like you and want to follow you. And video is a great way to do this. I've been doing video for a very long time, going back to even before coaching fitness career. And if you go to sellingcoaching.com, you'll see videos everywhere. You know, my university is all videos. Every single page on my website has a video. I do these live shows, video/audio, but it's so important for people to get to know you. So go ahead, check those resources out. But I want to get into the topic today, and that's the raw and sometimes ugly truth of entrepreneurship. And I want to start off by saying the raw and ugly truth doesn't mean it's bad. Right? It doesn't have to be bad. It's just we want to start to understand the realities of it, so we educate our expectations moving forward in a business. And even if you've been in business in other arenas, you know, this might be completely different for you. You know, business is different. Business isn't business necessarily. You know, there's definitely some common threads. But even with people that have done sales, you know, and I teach the selling aspect, like I said, of helping coaches transition to a full-time business. You know, I've had so many clients over the years that are like, oh my God, this is so hard. It's so different, they say. You know, I've been in sales for my whole career, and whether they're selling, you know, whatever they were selling, a product or a service, they're like, wow, this is so completely different, right? So as you move forward, there's some realities that it's work. That's what it is. And my rationale for doing this today is, you know, I've been hearing a lot with my clients lately, and, you know, I've seen it myself, you know, been in business for the 15 years. This is my 15th year coming onto it as a full-time coach. And then prior to that, I was in business as an entrepreneur, as a fitness professional. And prior to that, in high school and early college, I was in business for myself as a landscaper and painting and, you know, odds and ends and stuff like that. So there's definitely some common threads, but we need to educate our expectations, like I said. And there's been a lot of that coming up lately with my clients. And then, and as of recent, and I wrote about this in some of my emails. If you're in my email community, and like I said, part of the reason why I want you to get that resource on the homepage of sellingcoaching.com is so you can also be in my email community, so you can start to see how I stay connected, and I give you some valuable stuff in there. But some of you might know that last year I hurt my left knee, and I was working out, and I don't even know how I did it, but I tore my meniscus in the knee. It's like the padding in the knee, right? And it got to the point where it's like, oh, I needed surgery. So had surgery on that knee, everything went well. Fast forward a year up until, like, call it, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, finally, I'm feeling like, all right, I was obviously better before then, but more like 100%, like I can really start training again. And so I started easing my way into training. And then literally it's about 3 weeks ago now, my right knee. And it's like, oh, I injured it and it swelled up by the end of the day. I don't know what I did, but it just started swelling up. And next thing you know, guess what? A year to the day, literally, I'm on the phone with the doctor and he's like, yeah, you tore your meniscus in your right knee. You call it getting old. I don't know what it is, but it was like, oh, it was literally a year to the day I found out. So tomorrow, literally tomorrow, I'm going in to have surgery for my right knee. Same meniscal tear, 1 year later, other knee. And it was like, and it was hard. It was really hard. And I'm handling it well now. Obviously, I'm just accepting it is what it is. I'm moving forward, right? I can't complain about it. It sucks, but it's going to create opportunities for new things. As I always ask myself as a coach, what's the opportunity here? So I'm looking at it like that. But the reality of it is it's hard and it sucks and it's not fun. And I was looking forward to a summer of like, this is going to be the summer I can get back and feel good and become, if you will, more healthy again and fit and active. And no, it's going to be like last summer, whereas I'm, easing my way back into it. But the interesting part is that, I was at the gym today, just doing regular workout and with what I can do at this point. And I see this guy on this elliptical trainer and I'm walking by and he's moving kind of weird. And I look down and he doesn't have a leg. He only has one leg. He has a prosthetic limb, but you could see that it was a prosthetic limb. And I'm like, and I'm sitting here, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh man, I got knee surgery and trying to stay positive about it and, doing what I can, trying to stay active. And I'm like, look at this guy. He's probably in his late 60s, at least just guesstimating based on, the way he looked. And I'm like, but he's not giving up. I'm like, man, if I lost my leg, never mind, I'm going to have knee surgery and whatever. I'm going to be walking within a week or so and, I'll be cutting the grass in 2 or 3 weeks. And it's not like it's that big of a deal. It's surgery, but it's not that big of a deal. And here's this guy, who lost his leg, who knows how, maybe in the war or something like that, fighting for our country nonetheless, and here he is like not giving up and doing this workout. And I'm like, good for you, man. I didn't say that to him, but I'm like, and that inspired me, and it's, obviously no matter how hard we have it, there's always someone that has it harder. And this isn't about comparing or anything like that. And the whole point of the story is that, stuff like this, like you get it. If you had a forum like this and you were speaking your word, you could tell us stories about your world, and it's hard. Life's hard in general. So when we get to entrepreneurship, it's no different. It's hard. And make no mistake, it's hard. Last week, one of my clients, she's a group coaching client of mine. And with my group programs, I'll do, group. And then on that 4th week, I'll do like a one-on-one. So we had our one-on-one. And, she was telling me about all the marketing she was doing and all these people she was reaching out to and how like no one's getting back to her and things just feel really slow. And I'm like, yeah. And I said, I'm like, you know what, I can respect your frustration, been there before. I just wish you could listen to, every call I have with my mentoring coaching clients and having, been in my head for the last 15 years in business plus, like I said, and this is exactly what to expect is things are going to be slow. And you're not going to get callbacks and you're going to have to keep following up with people and reaching out to more people and just expect that. And like, this is what I'm hearing all the time. And this is what I've experienced. And, she there was like kind of like the sigh of relief, but then there was like this pause on the phone. And then she says to me, this is going to be really long and hard, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah. And I didn't sugarcoat it at all. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. It's not like everything. How about this? It's things aren't challenging to the point where you can't figure them out. Things are simple, right? But they're just not easy. And you've got to work at it. And it's not like there's a message that, Jeff, I didn't know that. Of course. But you've got to expect that. And even this is my last mentor coaching client I get off with, and she's moving along, but sometimes you second guess yourself and you have these expectations, and then when they're not met, you feel like a failure, or you have all these goals in mind, and when they're not met, you feel like a failure, or you're disappointed. And it's curbing those and educating those expectations. But I really want to set up that the truth for you is because a lot of what you see with marketing out there, is this. And this goes back to the fitness industry as well, but in those are the industries I've been in primarily in my life, the coaching industry, the fitness industry. And in the marketing for everything, for whether it's for diets, it's for programs, exercise programs, or whether it's for, earning six figures as a coach, or, setting up events, or doing your website, or everything out there is marketing to make it look easy and make it sound easy and user-friendly. And you're like, oh, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to do my own website. And then you get to the website and it's supposed to be this easy thing to do because you see all the testimonials and you see these people, this is the site I made. And it's like, I don't know anything about websites. And then you go to try and make your websites on whatever it is, Wix, or, a user-friendly thing. And you're like, what the frig? Like, I just did this, and what does my website look like? Crap, and it's just like, this is supposed to be easy, and then you get out there and you start speaking your message and you're excited about it and you do an event and you're like, or you post on social media and you're like, why is no one responding to me? And, why, you have a complimentary session after complimentary session and you're like, why is no one hiring me? And I'm always getting the money objection and they need to think about it or they're not showing up, and it's just like, oh, what? This sucks. And you get down on yourself. But I'm here. I'm not here speaking a sexy message of like, oh, yeah, it's easy. Just do this, this, and this. The next thing you know, you're going to be making six figures by the end of the, that's not how it happens. Like, can it happen? Absolutely. Will it happen? Well, that's up to you in terms of the work that you do, but we want to set you up to the point where we get some good fundamentals set up. I go back to the beginning of this where I talked about that visibility challenge in my private Facebook group. Again, if you go to sellingcoaching.com, right at the top of every page, we'll bring you right over to that group on Facebook. If you want to join, you can just request to join. But part of the reason why I do that is because, when I'm working with coaches and, maybe some people most are starting just from scratch, but, good percentage of them as well, they've been doing things. Maybe they got a website going, maybe they've spoken a few times or whatever they're at. They figured their niche out kind of, they haven't figured it out, wherever they're at in that process. When I get to that point and I'll say, well, make a video of yourself, it's like, and as scared as they are, especially if they're hiring me, they'll do it because they're going to do it. That's why they're doing this thing. Right. But it's not easy to do, and then they do it and it's like, okay, I kind of felt good, but I couldn't get the message out. But bottom line is they need work, right? We all need work. I look at my first videos, it's like, like, what am I doing? But it didn't matter. I just did it, right? And so we do it and we do it again. So I was saying part of the reason why I do that visibility challenge is because, and the reason I say 30 videos over 90 days is because like you can't just do one or two videos. Like you got to do a bunch of them. And then it's not just about the video, it's about starting to articulate your message and you've got to get it out there. So you've got to have this phase, like I'll just say this 6, 8 month, even 12-month phase, and I call it a startup phase where you're figuring everything out. And it's especially longer to the 12-month mark plus if you're doing it by yourself. And this isn't a ploy of like, oh, hire me as your mentor coach, right? But when you're doing it yourself, you're figuring things out yourself. Like, how do you know what to do, right? And you probably have subscribed to 100 different email lists, and then you get all these other coaches around you that are like, try this, do this, this worked, this didn't work, blah, blah, blah. And it's just that shiny object syndrome of like, you never try any one thing for too long, right? So you're never really getting good at anything. So I did the video thing and it didn't work. Why? Because you made a video and you sucked at it and you didn't like it, or you put it out there and no one watched it. And so it didn't work, or you tried it in the Facebook Live thing, didn't work, and then you moved on. Oh, no, I did it 5 times. Or you did it 10 times. Like, how do you know if it really works or not, right? Or I tried posting, but I'm not a great writer. So then I'm trying this, and now I'm doing this, and then I'm on all these, and you're trying these things. Or I tried setting up an event, didn't work. Or I tried meetup.com, and it didn't work. I set up a meetup, but no one came, so it didn't work, right? So that you're never like getting better at anything. You're just trying a bunch of different things. And then when it's not working, right? And you look somewhere else and go, oh, I'm going to try this. And so you're always pacifying it with the next best thing or the next best idea or just the next idea, and never giving anything a real chance to go and never setting up a real structure in a system. Can you write a weekly email once a week for a year? 52 emails. Can you do a weekly video or podcast every week for a year? 52. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you do that? And then post it on social media and right? Like, that's like a core fundamental. Like, can you do that and talk about a topic or develop a topic over that amount of time, right? Like that's that consistency of it. No one's out there saying like, okay, do that, because there's people out there saying like, don't build an audience, you need to just do Facebook ads, just do a presentation, or just, do you fill in the blank, right? And it's just like, okay, well, how are we going to start to figure that stuff out? Like, so that's that ramp up, and that ramp up doesn't have to be slow over that, 6, 12 months or whatever. It just, obviously when you have guidance, it can be expedited because you're not trialing error. You're not have to do all this research. Okay, which email platform to use? Like use Aweber. Like you don't have to love it. It's not like you have to do it because I'm recommending it. It's just like use it because it's great and it works. And there's a lot of other reasons why I've tried a lot of other things. So make that recommendation. So it can feel faster. It can get you to market faster with a mentor like myself, but it's not 100% necessary. But the point is that you've got to have this expectation of this good window to get you to there. And then within that window, it's going to be work, right? And so some of the expectations I want to set up for you in terms of that, the truth and the sometimes ugly truth is like getting clients. Like you're, I'm going to get 5 clients this month. Like, are you? Like, how are you going to get 5 clients this month? Like, where's that going to come from? So don't set a goal on, I'm going to get 5 clients. Like, well, what are the activities that you're going to do each and every day that would hopefully produce, let's say, 5 clients? Like, do those activities each and every day and then see at the end of the month, well, how many clients did I produce? I produced 1, or I produced 5, or I produced none. Okay, well, either those activities aren't good, we've got to do different activities, or we've got to get better at their activities, or we've got to do more of those activities and do them consistently for the second month and see what it produces. You see where I'm going with this, right? So, and don't ever expect that a client's just going to show up and be like waving their credit card, oh, I want to hire you. Will that happen sometimes? And I hesitatingly say yes, because sometimes people show up and be like, oh, I want to hire you. But know this, when people show up because they want to hire you or they think they want to hire you, it's because you've gotten out there on a consistent basis. I get people that go through my website, sellingcoaching.com, under the work with me page, and they fill that form out and they're like very well qualified. And the reason they're very well qualified is because they go to my university or they found me on YouTube, which has all, my Selling Coaching YouTube channel, which ultimately is duplicated on my university where where I have, 150 of my live shows plus another 50 plus videos, or 200 plus videos of, really in-depth educational content. They're on my email list. They're getting 3 emails a week from me with some, I would like to say, some valuable content. Let's just assume it's valuable content if they're still there, right? And they're a student of mine before they even, so they come to me and there's value because they know me, they like me, they trust me, they like my style, they like my energy, they like the information, they're familiar with my information, so when I'm talking to them after they've hired me, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with that. And they're already talking my language, right? They're a student of mine, right? So I've got that out there, and that's working, if you will, behind the scenes with my people. It's building value while I sleep, so to speak, right? That's the value of the system that I help create with my clients, right? But the point is that they're coming to you. So when I say don't expect someone to just show up, waving their card, was wanting to hire you, especially if you don't have anything out there, or especially if you're not doing anything like video or any more in-depth education on just even your philosophies and your strategies, your tips, your ideas, or whatever it is with you're helping people with. Don't expect people to come to you, waving their credit card. And even when they come to you well qualified, you still got to take them through a qualifying process, which again, that's something you've got to be able to learn. And I've got some of that education in my university, and that's what I teach, especially when I work with my mentoring clients, one-on-one in my groups. But the point is that we've got to dig for those people. We can't expect them to just come out of the woodwork. Again, a message from, I talked to a bunch of coaches over the course of time. They join my Facebook group. They join my email community. I like to have interactions with them where, what are you doing? Things like that. And, I get things like this one woman, I think a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, oh, I'm getting a lot of people. I'm using my Google Analytics, and I'm just getting, about 850 people a month, to my website, and they're reading my blogs and things like that. And, went to the person's website, and it was like, while it looked good, like it was very unclear to me what this person did other than like maybe a generic, helping people get better at life, and while it looked good and had a good energy to it, like I had to like really search and read, and I still, after spending like maybe 5 or 6 minutes there, I still didn't even really know what she did, and I am a coach, and I could assume or interpret some things, but again, that assuming and interpreting some things doesn't create big enough value for someone to say, ooh, let me take an action and call this person or write an email to them or even subscribe to something like a free resource, something like that, which the person didn't even have anyways. So even if I liked this person, I couldn't follow this person because they had no email capture, right? Or for a resource or something like that, right? So it's like we've got to start to get better at our craft, work at our craft, do something consistently on a weekly basis. You've got to be writing on a weekly basis. You've got to be writing your emails, using those emails, getting them out for posts as well. You've got to be speaking on a weekly basis. That's why I do like a weekly live show. That's why I set my mentoring clients up with that structure, is because why do I do this? If anything, for myself, I've got to get on a show. I've got to kind of look decent, you know what I mean? Even though I'm at home and I might have pajama for bottoms on, which I don't, but sometimes I do, and I have a collared shirt on, but it doesn't matter. I've got to speak out loud to people, whether there's 0 people watching this or a million people watching this. I've got to speak out loud. I've got to work on my craft, right? That's that practice. So I've got to write every week or multiple times a week. I've got to speak every week, whether it's on a virtual platform like this or in a face-to-face live setting, but I've got to speak live every single week. And then from that, if there's any interactions, I've got to have email and phone interactions with people on a weekly basis. And I've got to learn how to start to create those conversations. One of my mentor coaching clients right now, she's got a cozy family home. I talked about her in another thing, and she's got if you go to Instagram, cozy family home, she's starting that as she's building a home, but it's for moms, and it's moms trying to balance that, with a home build, but it's about life. It's metaphors for life, and so she's getting a lot of comments and reactions to her posts. And I'm teaching her right now, like, okay, well, those are all potential clients. Right? They're not just coming to you saying like, oh, I want to hire you. They probably don't even know what you do right yet, but they're following you and they like you and they're commenting. So I'm teaching you how to engage with those people. So it's not only writing every week, it's speaking live every week, but then it's starting to create those interactions with those people and asking them questions, and saying, I saw that you connected with my post. I saw that you liked my post, or you said this was great. I'm curious, what are you going through in your life right now that has you connecting with this information? Right? See how that's going to lead to them to start opening up a little bit. I'm not going to them saying, hey, do you want to hire me as your coach? Like, no, that's not how we sell, right? And ultimately, are we hoping that maybe they'd hire us? Of course we are, but we're not creating those interactions with that, in the forefront. We're just creating an honest, authentic interaction to kind of like get to know them a little bit and see what's going on. And then maybe if we learn about a need that they have that we could help them with, if they were to hire us as their coach, and if the timing were right, maybe at that point we can make an approach and say, hey, listen, I can't help but notice that, you're going through X, and it sounds like it's really bothering you right now, and you want to change it, and the timing could be better, but it sounds like you just don't know what to do, or you're just kind of stuck. Based on that, I can't help but ask if you'd ever want to be open to taking a closer look at how I could help you if you were to hire me as your coach. And I can't help but ask because you're the exact type of person that I work with on a daily basis. But if that's not on your radar, or not of interest to you, that's perfectly okay. But again, I almost felt compelled to ask based on what you've just shared with me. Right? Like what I just said right there, that's years in the making of me being able to say that just like that. But that's what I'm teaching my clients. That's what you've got to be able to learn. Those are the conversations you got to have on a daily, weekly basis as a result of the writing that you're doing to getting it out there to your email community and then out on social media. It's the weekly events that are starting this up face-to-face, live, and or virtual, that are starting to attract people, build an audience, getting them on into your communities, into your email lists, onto your social media that are following you. And then as a result, making some comments, creating those types of reactions. And, maybe they're just great conversations, right? But regardless of that, they're conversations and then we can cultivate those conversations. And maybe it just ends with just, hey, thanks so much. And you get to know the person a little bit better. Or maybe it results in an approach, and maybe as a result, they're like, oh my God, I'd love to take a closer look at that. And you offer them, you have a conversation, you talk about it more, you offer a complimentary session, and then they end up hiring you. Great. That's where that can go. But that's work to get there. It's work to set that up. It's work to do the weekly event each time, especially in the beginning, because it's hard because you don't know what the heck you're going to talk about just yet. And maybe you figured out your niche, maybe you didn't, maybe even if you figured it out yet, the next week, you're second guessing yourself, right? That's the reality of it sometimes. but stay within that area. Don't change it. Go down a path, like go down a path and pick a path, and whether you've been guided down that way with a mentor or you're just picking it yourself, like go down a path, do meetup.com and work the heck out of that meetup until the point where you've done it 3-4 months consistently each and every week, and you've interacted with people and you followed up with people and you've had topics and you've shown up and no one showed up. And then you do it again. And then, at some point, pivot directions, but you've got to go down a path. And if you're not sure it's the right path, that's why you have people like me that can help you with some of that stuff. Right? But you've got to do it consistently. And so really my message here for you today is just to show you kind of like trying to get a little specific in terms of like the weekly work that we need to do. But a lot of that weekly work is there's that, if you will, that 6-12 month window of doing that weekly work. And within that weekly work, you're probably not going to get much results. And I'm not saying you can't. You absolutely can, because that's what I'm doing with myself and my clients, right? Is we want to get that work and we want to get those results. But also within that, especially if you're not sure what you're doing, you're doing it on your own, that weekly work, a lot of it is you just getting better. Just like I said, part of the reason why I do my weekly emails and my weekly event, if no one's there and I had no one on my email list and I had no followers whatsoever, I'm still going to do this. Why? Because it's me practicing. If I want to get better at basketball, I got to get down to the courts and I got to play. And whether I'm playing somebody else or whether I'm shooting by myself or just dribbling, I just got to get better. And I wrote, if you're in my email community, I got into, it's called FPV flying, and so I have a drone. It's, a quadcopter with 4 blades. You probably know what a drone is. And then you have these goggles that you put on, and the drone has a camera, and you basically, whatever the drone sees, you see in your goggles. It's kind of like virtual reality, but you're actually flying, and it's like, I've been flying since I got a simulator, I researched it, and I've been flying on the computer that I flew for real. I've been flying for a month right now, and you can record the video. And I just flew this morning after my workout before I went in there, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting better. And I'm able to weave in between the telephone poles, or the light posts or the place where I fly, versus before I could just get up in the air. I could barely hover the thing over the month. But it's that consistency. I just got to keep flying. There's just no other way of doing it. And have I crashed? Have I broken things? Have I had to replace blades? And absolutely. But that's what happens. And I remember the first time I took it up and I just couldn't keep it up in the air and whatever. And it was just it was so hard. And I remember walking home after that and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And then I'm like, of course I'm going to be able to do this. I just need to practice. But it's and of course you know this. Duh, Jeff, do you really need to hear this? But yes, you really need to hear this. And when things are the hardest, that's when you're most likely at that place of breakthrough, right? So it's success is just one more step in a series of steps. And so when you're at that step, maybe the next step is success, but typically that step before success probably is the most challenging, most grueling step you have to take. But if you quit and you give up before then you didn't take that and you're just one step away. And there's stories and stories that you could hear and we could tell about that.